Welcome back to the Citizen Data Academy. This video is the 8th in our Introduction to Open Data module. We'll cover how to connect to APIs in OpenData BR. In the Developers tab of the OpenData BR website, you can find a quick overview of APIs and how to use them. An API, Application Programming Interface, allows you to connect directly to the data source using some other software. This can be as simple as connecting to a table in Excel, to as complex as supporting an entire web application with data uploaded in real time. We'll just cover the basics in this video. OpenData BR provides a few different options to use APIs. Our standard API to connect with OpenData BR is SODA, developed by Socrata, our data platform provider. Our Open Data team often uses SODA to create new datasets by connecting to external data sources in Socrata. We recently did this to create the Social Vulnerability Index dataset by connecting to source data provided by the CDC. SODA allows us to import vast amounts of external data into OpenData BR without our team having to manually perform any updates. In the future, we'll connect to data from the US Census Bureau as well. For those of you interested in developing applications with APIs, you can find additional detailed information at dev.socrata.com by clicking the link on the Developer Resources page. It's a great starting point to learn how to interact with the data. While our Open Data team often works with SODA, as a member of the public, you'll likely find the OData API to be more useful. It is a more generic and flexible API protocol that works well with a variety of popular data management programs, such as Excel, Tableau, and Power BI. Now, I'll show an example of how to connect to an API in Excel using the 311 dataset. I've made a filtered view of all recycling-related service requests made since August and saved it to my account. It isn't necessary to make a filtered view beforehand if you do want to work with the entire dataset. But if you want to apply some filters, you can save some time and effort by creating a filtered view first and connecting to that API endpoint instead of an API for the entire dataset. When you open the Export tab, you'll notice there are three main options. The bottom option is to download the data in a static format, such as CSV or JSON. We've already covered this process previously in the 4th video of this module. Keep in mind that when you choose this option, you will only download the data that was present in your table when you exported the file. Any new records added to the dataset after you downloaded your static file will not be added to that file. You would have to return to the portal and export those records manually to keep your file up to date. APIs can solve this problem by connecting our exported files directly to the dataset so that we don't need to go to OpenData BR each time we want to update our data. The top two options in the Export tab allow us to connect to an API. The top option is SODA, which we've already covered. You can connect to that endpoint if you want, but we're going to work with Excel in this example, so the best option is to connect with OData. Copy the link to the V4 endpoint. If you're using Tableau, you'll want to use the V2 endpoint instead. Open a blank Excel workbook. This process varies slightly, depending on your version of Excel. If you're using the 2013 version of Excel, like I am here, you'll first need to have the Power Query add-in installed in order to connect with OData. Once you've installed Power Query, you'll see it in the tab at the far right of the toolbar. Open the Power Query tab and choose From Other Sources in the Get External Data section. From that drop-down menu, select From OData Feed. In the window that pops up, simply paste the V4 endpoint link you copied into the URL search bar and click OK. You should now see a preview of the data you've downloaded from OpenData BR, indicating the API connection is successful. When you click the Load button, Excel imports the data into your table with all your filters still applied. But if you haven't made a filtered view in advance, you can always download the whole dataset and then apply your filters in Excel with the same result. If you're ever asked for credentials, choosing the Anonymous Access option should work for all public datasets. If the dataset you're connecting to is private, choose the Basic Authentication option and log in with your OpenData BR email and password. If you're using the 2016 version of Excel, things will look a bit different. The Power Query functions are already built into the Data tab as a standard feature. You would simply open the Data tab and select New Query. From that drop-down menu, select From Other Sources, and then From OData Feed. We've already covered how to make visualizations with the data in OpenData BR. but maybe you'll prefer to work within your software of choice to perform more complicated analysis. I'll demonstrate this by making a pivot table with the data on another worksheet. In this example, I want to analyze the breakdown of all the different recycling request types and the completion status of those requests. I'll select those fields and add them to my pivot table. Now we can see the count of requests for each type and the count of each completion status within those types. We can take this table and create a pivot chart to illustrate the data. There are many options, but I'll make a simple pie chart here. We can see that the majority of the calls are for a missed recycling service or to request a new cart. You can even insert a slicer to drill down into the data, and the chart will respond dynamically. Here, I'll only show the open requests. You can remove this filter at any time. If you simply download the dataset, your copy of the data is static to the time you downloaded it. But if you connect to the dataset with an API, as the Open Data team updates data, the data in your copy can be updated as well, without you needing to return to the Open Data BR portal. I'll demonstrate this in an Excel spreadsheet I created a few weeks ago. You can see there are 451 records listed in the table. To update the table, you simply open the Data tab and then click Refresh All. Once it's updated, you can now see there are 655 records, so the API connection is working. Sometimes, you may need to click Refresh All a second time for the data to update. I used a filtered view in this example to make the process quicker, but you can use APIs to download an entire dataset if you want. It'll just take more time to update when you refresh. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, which begins the community planning module and shows you how to use the planning and land development map.